What do you? Oh,
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we?
Hi, Matthew. It's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the Dumb Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show, and I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great, and I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more, and just keep the faith, keep fighting. I think we may get America back, but in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb, and you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you for what you're doing.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? We're trying to get all the bugs out. Looks like Twitter is not broadcasting, and
I didn't check the Instagram.
And Instagram's not for sure. Okay. I'm trying to start our space here. And seeing if we can get this going. Why is there music?
I don't know, but it's a nice little, some nice elevator music is what it's doing.
Turn that shit off. I don't know how to do this. Here, let me post this and see. I've never done this before. Oh, Don't Unfriend Me show. Here we go. Why does it have music? Come on, Elon Musk. Trying to get this off. Dude, we've got a crap ton of music. Let's see if this works. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
Oh, I know Kristen had it. I got Twitter on mine.
Wait, it's streaming?
Yeah.
Oh no, the audio is though.
Oh, there's no audio.
No, the audio is. I was looking for the video, but that's okay. Video's not working, but this is.
Yep.
Okay. Can you hear me when I'm talking right now? Let's see. Because what I'll do is I'll pump the mics into it, but I got to figure out how to do that. This is all new. Izzo does this, so I saw him do it. So see if you can hear me. Test 1 2. Hey, it's the Matt Mike Show. Blah 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 blah. You can't hear me? What the shiznit? Mic is on. Supposed to.
Oh, now I got it.
Oh, there we go.
I got you.
Test 1 2 3. All right. So here's what we'll do. We'll do that, and everybody should be able to hear you, right? Mm-hmm. So when you talk, I talk. They'll hear us from the phone. It won't sound as good as this, but, you know, shit happens in the big city.
Say it'll work.
All right. Well, log on to Twitter if you haven't had a chance. I think what we'll do is we'll use spaces from now on because the lives, nobody can interact. But this way, if anybody wants to come in and interact with us, they can. And then, whatever. I don't even know if this thing's cool. We're going to find out soon. Good to see everybody. We've got a little bit of a new look to the set. If you didn't know, over Christmas vacation, we took Mike out of the doghouse. We were putting him in the corner.
I finally paid my dues.
Paid his dues. We're bringing him in, and he's officially a part of the studio. So with this, we've got Olivia's new station, which looks just the bomb. When you see her on there, it's ridiculous. She looks like Ben Shapiro, better than his set. And Mike's actually looks pretty damn good. We need to increase the brightness a little bit. But and then obviously I'm a little bit closer than I've been in the past, and the set moved around. We've got some other, basic things coming. We've got a clock, which will be above me. I'm zoomed in right now, but this will be above, and it will have the date, the time. It's a digital clock. It'll have a countdown and everything else. So just adding things to the show, making it look better. Well, Mike, you look big, and then that's my fault because I didn't zoom in anymore. I got to turn that back on. What are we talking about today? You remember?
Say, there's gonna be a lot of things happening. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff happening in the Middle East. There's a lot of stuff happening in New York in regards to, again, Jews, and then just a lot of disorder, and we're finally starting to see all of the what word am I looking for? The illegal immigration, but also the refugees. And now that there's enough people that have come in, and that culture is now pretty solidified in a lot of areas. Now we're seeing a lot of that come out, where it's like, hey, we don't like this. We're gonna, and I don't, maybe rebel is not the right word, but they're coming out and protesting and getting into where it's becoming full out riots.
Right.
To where now it's going to be interesting how this plays out. But before we get too far on that, how was your Christmas?
Oh, it was good. It was. I felt like I was on a Love It or List It type TV show, or
really. Okay.
Well, yeah, just redoing this damn room. It took a better part of 2 days to do it, and every year we kind of screw around with it. So this just worked out, and got you your space, and it's fine. It's it was good. I mean, it's Christmas, but it's not like it used to be. We were talking about that before the show. It's like when we were kids, there was no responsibility. Our responsibility was to wake up and rip up presents and decide whether this was truly going to be a great Christmas based upon the gifts that we got, or a bad Christmas based upon the ones that we didn't.
Yep.
And now it's the best way I can describe it. I don't mean to be like melancholy, but as you're searching for something that you can't find, and you're not going to be able to rekindle that. Like Olivia and I don't even get anything for each other anymore. We just stopped doing it. We're just like, if we want something, we just go out and get it.
Yep.
Like we get everything we want. So we even told the kids, don't get us anything. You guys get something for each other. We love your gifts. We appreciate it, but we don't need you guys to do that. We don't need you to spend your money on us, and you get something for each other. And that's what they did. But I'll be honest with you, most of Christmas Day, I just kind of unplugged and I didn't do anything. And I went out and shot. We got Ethan an AR that has these little beads that you soak in the water, and then they fill up with water. That you haven't seen it, dude. Oh my gosh.
No, okay.
It's one of those. It's like a gel-based machine gun.
Really?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
It's like the fun of BBs without
without all the mess,
without putting somebody's eye out or shattering a window. So he'll sit there, 30 yards, and just, and it fires full auto. And
sweet.
These beads are literally the size of a pinhead. You put them, they're like sea monkeys, and you put them in the water, and then they come out and they look like beads. Like, I don't know, just like that you would put on top of a cookie or something.
Okay.
And, like those little, I don't know, like you've seen a small pearl necklace. That's what it looks like.
Yep.
Just little beads. They're full of water, and they absorb all the water, and they fill up, and then you put them in the same thing that you would use for like a paintball gun, and it feeds into the gun one at a time, and and he's sitting there plucking targets, and and having a blast. So we played with that. And then I got Hayden a vanity for her makeup and all that because she moved downstairs. So she's officially like the furthest that she could possibly be away from mom and dad. She's there. And she got a full-size bedroom. And so we new bedspread and all that. So that was fun and it was nice. But it's just, in the end, I think what we need to realize is that I think all of us get a hole in us the further away we get from our youth. And what do you fill that with? What do you replace it with? What do you, there's no food, there's no magic dessert, there's no magic present that can fill emptiness if you allow it to consume you. So with me, it was just like a recommitment to, continue to work out, continue to take care of myself, to continue to, be there for my children when they get married and have kids. And so it was a reflective Christmas. And I know that doesn't sound very happy, but it has its place, no matter whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that reset. That's to help you realize, like, hey, I've gotten far enough away from this that like I need to get back in the spirit and realize like where I need to go for it. Yeah,
I think that's fair. The old adage: once you've been shot at, life just kind of gets a lot simpler.
It does.
It just gets simple. So. It's just like there's no complexity to it anymore. So I enjoy Christmas, but to me, like this is what I wanted to talk about. This I forgot what I named it. It was so clever, and now
the replacement syndrome. There you go.
So my thought is that in 15 years to 20, we won't even be celebrating Christmas anymore. It feels that way. And I'll tell you why. Because I look at like Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I look at 4th of July. I look at Halloween and even Thanksgiving. Like Halloween's pretty much non-existent. It's like there's no trick-or-treaters. We've lived in 7 different cities in the last 15 years, and I can tell you I've probably had that many trick-or-treaters over the last 10, 12 years.
Yes, where Eric and I live, we don't get any anymore, and I know that's
right. You get
her
raccoons.
Favorite holiday, and that's it.
Yeah, you get raccoons, right? It's just like there's scratch. But you look at the way 4th of July is now, fireworks, you can't set them off, and, restrictions, and then helicopters are flying over giving people's fines. And, it feels like to me that we're losing who we are as a people. We're losing our culture. We're losing our basic fundamentals of who we are as society. And to me, I don't think that's a good thing. A lot of people are saying we're evolving. I think we're devolving. Nobody writes any new music anymore. Nobody writes a new movie. Everybody writes the old movies, and everybody writes the old books and redoes the same songs over and over. There are no more great skyscrapers. There are no more great bridges. As a society, are we dying? Have we plateaued and reached our ecliptic point, and now let's surrender apogee and come back down to earth?
So do you think because this country was largely based on Christianity that now so many people are moving away from that?
Yes.
That the rest of the ideals are just getting drug along with it?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think Christianity is the basis of a lot of the things that we do, from our government to our ethics and our morals to our laws. Everything was based around Christianity. And the fact that Christianity and organized religion and the belief in God was 92% of the world believed in some sort of, secondary ethereal plane at one point. And now they're saying, as far as Christianity, only like 76% of the United States is Christian. And they're anticipating the next 20 to 30 years that it's going to be below 51%. There is just this sardonic and sarcastic look towards God. And no further proof is needed than some of the posts that I did over Christmas. I mean, people can't stop. I'm like, can we just pull our heads out for one day and just stop attacking each other? Like, there's a guy the call to activism on the Twitter page. I don't follow this guy. I don't like this guy, but I see his stuff because that's what Twitter does, is they want us constantly frothing at the mouth over each other. And he posted just a really sweet video and photo of, I mean, get this. He brings his like 3-year-old and 5-year-old on a plane, and a 5-year-old about 45 minutes before boarding and takeoff starts screaming and throwing fits. And this dad is just a single dad. And this guy is always like, Donald Trump's evil. Donald Trump needs to go to jail. MAGA people are fascist. Round them all up and throw them in concentration camps. This type of guy. But I'm listening to him and I'm like, man, I can relate to this. I've been there. I mean, I've been there. I know what this feels like. And he shows this picture of this black lady who looks just like my good friend Sansere in Houston, Texas, who was one of my employees. And she's just amazing. And this lady goes, you know what? You get your bag. You get your other son. I'll hold your son and walk him on the plane. And immediately the kid calms down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, he's having ear problems and stuff, and that's horrible on flight. So anyway, they get into the flight, and about 30 minutes after takeoff, he starts wailing again. And you see this picture of her holding this kid, this little boy, a white child, in her arms, in her seat, lovingly. And this dad, you know, takes a picture, and she held him the rest of the flight all the way to the baggage claim.
Yep.
And then handed him back to her dad and said, looks like you needed a break. Merry Christmas. And to me, that story,
that is amazing.
Right, would just be like, oh my God. Like everybody and their mother would be like, oh my God. That is, there's people on there calling her the N-word and saying, how dare you touch a white child? And then there's black people going on there and saying, that's not your kid. Why don't you stick with your own race? And I'm reading this and I want to vomit that it's so freaking abhorrent, dude.
Well, and just hearing that, I'm like, I am so glad that there are still good enough people that's like, you know what, you need some help. Let me do this for you. Like, yeah, you need a break. But also, I'm assuming that she's a mother or grandmother. It's like, you know what, this is easy. Like, I got it. Let me help you out. It's amazing that we still have somebody like that that's willing to do it instead of just sitting there on the flight and just staring at this guy being like, hey, shut your kid up. Like, I'm
right.
Like, we're just trying to have peace here. So one, it's awesome that's happening, but we're so polarized now that it's like, oh, you have to stay with your same race. Like, well, maybe you're the problem and not her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous. So this is it. It's Call to Activism is the page. And it says, so I thought it was a good idea to fly by myself with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. Remember, I skimmed this at 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
Because I got so disgusted, I just left. We were standing in line in security on the verge of tears because Wyatt was screaming and James was exhausted. Out of the blue, one mom stops the line for security and says, here, jump in front of me. I know how it is. Wyatt fell asleep, and I was trying to carry everyone's carry-on when another mom jumps out of her place in line and says, hand me everything. I've got it. When I said thank you to both of them, they both said, don't you worry. We're going to make sure you get on that flight. Second woman takes everything and helps me get it through security. And on top of all that, she grabs all of it and walks us to the gate to make sure you get on I got on the flight.
Perfect.
To top it all off, Wyatt starts to scream at takeoff before he finally falls asleep. About 45 minutes, this angel comes to the back and says, you look like you need a break, and holds Wyatt for the rest of the flight and walks him all the way to the baggage claim, hands him to Blake, hugs me, and says, Merry Christmas.
See, why isn't this on like every major news media out there? Been like, you know what? The spirit of Christmas, here you go. Here it is. Here's a perfect example.
Right. It makes me reflect on our own show, is that the way that I look at this, you asked me about Christmas, is that not everybody appreciates vulgarity. Not everybody appreciates, lowbrow humor. So how can I increase the message in this show by being something, maybe not that I'm not, but being something that I aspire to be? And this lady has figured it out.
100%.
You know what I mean? She's got it. She's like, I probably shouldn't offer to hold a white child on a plane because there's still racists in the world today. Or maybe it's none of my business. Or maybe if I drop the child, I'm going to get sued for the rest of my life. But you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. To me, this lady got it figured out. And instead of people saying, good for her, people are like, making comments like, where is she going? Veil? Or, oh, look, a black person in America who's made it. Look at those boots. Look at that, And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people? Why can't we just for 1 minute, just be appreciative of what we didn't do and what someone else did. Wouldn't that be nice that we've become so self-serving that we discredit others' accomplishments? To me, it doesn't make much sense.
Say the self-serving is 100% what everybody's doing. But for me, it's like the fact that we still have someone who has that motherly instinct, because I still go back. I know we talked about this when we were on with Izzo of that video where the mothers said that they wouldn't kill for the child.
Right.
When I see someone like this, you still have someone that cares about children in general. It doesn't matter who it is because they're all innocent.
Yeah.
And you just want to help when you obviously see a situation like, you know what, you need something, like let me be that one to help you out, because guess what? I'm paying it forward now. So when I need help, I would hope that someone would come help me.
Yeah.
So
you would hope
it's simple things like that that people have lost.
Yeah. It's the truth. Like, so I went on his page and I said, hey, I don't agree with you politically, but bravo for posting this. This really, kind of inspired me. And I must have received, 20 texts or DMs that people are saying, dude, why are you giving that guy? The guy hates Trump. Why are you giving it? So I don't care. I am so sick of this Trump versus Biden BS that the two commitments that I've made to myself, and I don't do New Year's resolutions because they're worthless.
Yeah, they're stupid.
But is to not cuss as much, because I'm better than that. And I can communicate in a way that I don't need to. And if I can do it on my recorded shows, I just have to make the conscious effort not to do it here. And this may last one day, I don't know. But the second one is to stop playing into this sports team mentality for politicians. I want to make sure I am clear right now on this show. I despise all politicians. There's not one of them that I like. So the next time that we feel it necessary, well, what about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Or what about Noem? Or what about this? I don't care. Politicians are the bastion of our existence at this point. Mm-hmm. They are the reason why we are divided. They are the reason why America is at each other's throats. And they are not our friends. And I know Eli Crane. I know Luttrell. I know a couple of others who I've exchanged emails with, whether it be Kat Kamek or others, even Kevin McCarthy. It doesn't mean I don't like them as a human being. I just don't like them because they're politicians. Just like I don't like lawyers. Even though one of my most admired people in my life is my lawyer, who is an amazing Marine. I don't like his job, and I don't like what he does. So I'm done like rawing for politicians. Mm-hmm. The thing I wanted to mention is like this video right here. This is the one we were talking about this morning, and I didn't have a lot of context, so hopefully I have it.
Okay.
Let me show you this. So there was two videos that I saw that really were kind of cool. This is the first one. This is a Walmart, and this is a flash mob. Like, we haven't seen a lot from flash mobs, right?
Yeah, those went away a while ago.
Yeah, so we haven't seen a ton. I'm hoping I got to fix your light and just give you a little bit less of a red glow. Sorry, I love how you like immediately know to look forward.
I just know now that like once you start saying that, just look forward, or I'm going to hear something.
You're going to hear about it. All right, cool. That still is over on Twitter. So this is a flash mob. You don't hear much about these anymore, but these were the latest craze. I mean, when people were doing the Harlem Shake and doing the
whatever dance of the week it was,
right? And doing the plank, and then you would see these flash mobs that would come out, and they would just would freak me out. Like, people start doing Thriller, and I'm just like, okay, I'm leaving. But this was awesome, right? So this group, they're in Walmart, and here's my thought. There are so many other things that could happen that would be horrible in Walmart.
Yes, and
they often do.
Yes, it's Walmart.
People don't know how to dress. There's crimes. We know that there was a mass shooting in a Walmart. Mm-hmm. And instead of saying, I'm going to stop, I'm going to put this into reality, I'm going to say, it doesn't matter. This is beautiful. It doesn't matter what religion I am in. Even if it was, somebody singing a hymn or a prayer from an Episcopalian church or a song of, I don't know any Muslim songs that are religious, but whatever, I once saw the camel crescent the watery moon, whatever the heck the song, see, I almost cussed, whatever the heck the song is, I don't care. Because I wouldn't go, oh, look, it's a bunch of Muslims singing in Walmart. I would say, oh, my God, where's that beautiful sound coming from? I want to find it.
Yes.
This is what happened. And then I'm going to tell you what people posted. Here it is. I get it.
Like,
Yeah. Go
what's
ahead.
wrong with that? Like, that's awesome that they're going to go there, spread some cheer. Before we get to that, it just made me think of I think it's the Creatures of Walmart. Used to be that old
Yep,
website.
Yep.
Oh, like that. Walmart's the place you go to feel better about yourself. Because
Right.
I was like, I walk like a penguin. It's horrible, but I go there and I'm like, you know what? My life isn't that bad. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
So
it's true. It's true.
it's one of those. I'm like, hey, there's some other kind of folks there. You get all walks of life. It doesn't matter. You're gonna get some interesting things at Walmart. But then you see this, like, hey, that's an amazing thing. Why would you sit there and bash that? Like, how hateful and how much do you hate yourself?
Yeah.
That you now have to be like, you know what? I've got to speak out about this because this is so horrible. I'm like, hey, if you don't like it, you're not religious. Cool, not your thing. Move on to the next. Like, I just don't understand what you have to have in your mindset. There's like, you know what? I just want to be an ass today. Like, who can I piss off so bad today that's going to bring me enjoyment that's where I want to go? Like, I just don't understand how you get to that mindset and why you would want to do that.
Have you seen the movie Role Models?
Yeah.
Okay, so in there, Paul Rudd goes into a Starbucks and he's ordering a coffee. And he's like, I'd like to get a large. And then, of course, the barista is like, we don't have large. Do you mean a venti? And he's like, no, I mean a large. He's like, well, we have the venti. It's like, venti, it means 20 in Italian. Mm-hmm. He's like, tall is large. Grande is large. He's like, the only thing that isn't large is a venti. So congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages. And she's like, listen, D, it's going to be really hard for me not to cuss. But listen, penis head, venti means 20 in Italian for 20 ounces, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at that and I'm like, do I purposely try to piss people off when I'm having a bad day? And I asked myself that question. And the answer is no. I really don't. I really, truly look at myself and go, are you just trying to destroy other people's happiness? And the answer is no. But Paul Rudd in that point he hated life. He was pissed off. I've been there. And I reflect on the restaurant trip with that guy. And I just realized that the one thing I do is that I don't have a filter in situations. Mm-hmm. And, Eric has said something that was really profound to me and I've been carrying with me ever since, which is, you don't have to argue with everybody. You don't always have to care what other people think. And it's a great point. So I can understand where people are coming from when they're like, I've got to make my point. I've got to say something. But then I go, most people have that restraint to stop, Mike, and go, all right. So that's where I end and go, I'm one of those people. I can go, you know what? You're right. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm done. Mm-hmm. But there's people out there, which is to bring us back to our original point of the topic, which was focusing on this replacement syndrome, is that there are people out there who are so hollowed out that when they see levity or they see something that's beautiful, they have to destroy it in order to make themselves feel better. For example, they will fill it with something that means nothing. Mm-hmm. just to chime in because they can't find the words of, wow, that's beautiful, because it doesn't enter their cortex. They instead have to try to break it down and make it something controversial. And their contribution to it is to create conflict, because everything else on the internet is conflict based. So therefore we have taught ourselves to create conflict where there is none. And people, what did they say? Jesus's birthday isn't on December 25th.
Of course.
And I'm like,
why?
okay. We didn't have an Egarian calendar or a Mayan calendar or whatever during that time period. Either way.
I mean, wait, Twitter wasn't around when
No.
Jesus was walking the earth? Like, what do you mean? That's just not practical.
Is it Egregorian? Egregorian. It doesn't matter. Calendar. Who cares? The concept of time in that spatial period was not conceptualized. It was the sun is up, it is time to work. The sun is down, it is the time to rest. That was it. Not much else. And for people to be like, well, it's not on December 25th, that's fine. That's fine. You can say that. But why say that? Why not say something else? Here's one other video I wanted you to see, and I don't know if you got to catch this one. The quality isn't as good as the other, but this is beautiful. Like, this is absolutely cool. Before I do that, I just want to make a simple request. If you have not been over to YouTube,
Christmas, everyone. Olivia needs your help. She is Christmas, everyone. Olivia,
a Jerry's Kid begging moment. We need you to go over to YouTube. We have made
your help. She is looking.
this video for everybody really quick. Just a little advertisement. Then we'll get to the next one.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Olivia needs your help. She is looking to get to 1,000 followers on YouTube, and this has been her mission for the entire year. Help us out. Go over, please, and subscribe to YouTube today. Make Olivia's wish come true.
Yes, I think we got to 875.
We did.
when
We got
looked
to
this morning.
875, which
So-
is outstanding.
Yeah, like we added like something like 50-something people in the past few days. Like, that's amazing, but let's keep going. We still got a few days left in the year. Let's see how close we can get to 1,000.
Yeah, because trust me, I'll pay for it if we don't win. Like this is Olivia. She'll cut me. All right, so here's the video that I truly just loved, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance to. Hold on, let me see if I can get this to play. I'm gonna refresh it. Here we go. I'll be honest with you, man. I just wanted to say, I know you wanted to jump in. It just reminds me of my mom, dude. It reminds me of my mom listening to the Little Drummer Boy during a simpler time when she was actually just the sweetest, nicest person in the world. And to me, that's peaceful. And I'm not a godly person. I challenge the notion all the time. And it's because I just have too many questions. And I don't know, man. To me, there's no threat there. It's just beautiful. But go ahead, Mikey.
It is like, and maybe this is where maybe I'm too jaded now. But as soon as I started playing, like, yes, it is extremely peaceful. It's amazing. I'm glad they're able to do it. But my first thought was, how much did they have to bribe the folks in New York to actually play that?
Yeah.
And allow that to be played in Times Square? That's where I first went to.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just my prejudice when it comes to New York City and assuming everything's democratic, and these liberals just wouldn't allow this to happen, and how much they had to pay someone off to play it.
Yeah.
But I am glad that they were actually able to do that and put that out, because it's very beautiful. It's an amazing showcase of what Christmas truly is, and doing that on a platform that's going to reach everybody.
Do we truly believe that liberals aren't religious? I mean, is that where we've come now? Is that we believe that Republicans are the only people who believe in God?
No, but doing something like that, and again, maybe I'm just completely off on this, is that they wouldn't, I would assume that they would have issue with that, because it's not pushing the, like, there's nothing trans in there. There's not the LGBT,
right,
like the alphabet thing in there, to where they need something else and not just the pure story of like, hey, this is Christmas. This is what it's about.
Yeah.
It's Jesus, it's God, and like that's it. Just having that, and maybe it's because the media has biased me enough to think like that's what it is.
Yeah.
But even most of the friends that I have that are more liberal, I don't think they would see that and be like, "Oh, look, it's so beautiful." It's like, "Oh, well, why didn't you do this? Why are you oppressing?"
No,
whatever?
you're right.
Like,
it's not a loaded question. It seems to be not. It used to be Republicans would say, be like, "Oh yeah, we're Christian, you know, tote that." But now I hear more often than not from liberals that it's made up, it's a fantasy, it's a fairy tale, and I'm like, they've kind of created this themselves with their stances on things, with, you know, and I'm sorry, it's anti-woman. I don't care what you say. It's when you say a woman can be a man, you're not helping. Listen, you created the feminist movement, for God's sakes. Now you guys are like, you know what? It's too good. Things are too good. We've got too many good things going on. Let's ruin it. Let's go ahead and make women. Basically, the summation of all women on the planet is that if you put on lipstick and a dress, that's all it takes to be you. Wow. Wouldn't it be funny? All you got to do is put on a grunt style shirt and a baseball cap and you're a guy.
Dude.
Yeah, no, you're not. Because no matter how many baseball caps Dylan Mulvaney wears, he's not. Olivia and I were making these are just the thoughts inside the car, and then we'll shift gears. I was driving and I said, she was talking about the Virgin Mary, and my daughter goes, how in the hell which is totally sacrilegious, but she's like, how in the hell did the Virgin Mary get pregnant if she's a virgin? And I'm like, okay, first of all, you got to stop asking questions, right? We're done. 13 years of this. And now your questions are becoming too based.
You're going to have fun the next few years.
Right. It was better when unicorns were. Are unicorns real, Dad? No, honey, they're not.
Of course they are. Totally.
Yeah.
Keep believing that.
Rainbow spotted ones in Berkeley are. But, now it's like, how was the Virgin? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Now you're starting asking questions that I have. Mm-hmm. And I said, honey, it's called the Immaculate Conception. And, the Virgin Mary did not have a sexual relationship. She simply had Jesus. And she's like, how? And I said, well, unbeknownst to a bunch of liberals, she didn't have a choice. And that's where my body, my choice comes from, stems from and I started laughing. Olivia started, she said, no, that's not what happened. But I am so surprised that the liberals haven't caught on. And I was waiting for this Christmas to hear that the Virgin Mary was raped by God.
You know what?
And she didn't have a choice. So conservatives, my body, my choice. Mary didn't have a choice. She was forced to have this baby. No wonder you want liberals to have forced births instead of abortions. And I'm like, I am so surprised that these bastards haven't done something like that.
Honestly, I'm kind of amazed that they haven't. Granted, I never even got close to thinking about that, but I should
be a liberal. I should be a PR firm for them.
That's your $1 million idea right there.
Isn't
you can put that out.
Isn't it? They're going to do a shirt like, did the Virgin Mary have a choice? Oh, and you're like, but that is something that liberals would do. And it's not mainstream liberals, but the media would make it mainstream and it would be all over the news. And what I'm saying isn't sacrilegious. It's actually fairly accurate to what liberals do, is that they take something that's sacred and important and they twist it to fill their narrative. And even though those stories have nothing to do with each other, and even though one is completely different than the other, they try to tie those together. And it's It's interesting. And Olivia's like, oh my God, I can't believe they haven't done that yet. And I said, well, it's just a matter of time because they're trying to literally just trounce on religion. And I find myself defending religion more often than not because I think the shoe is on the other foot now, where I felt religion would persecute people and judge people based upon their sexuality.
I mean,
or
they still do.
I know, but not to the extent that it used to be. I mean, it used to be on TV. It used to be every minute, every single book, every single politician would do it too. It's now went to the underbelly. Even though people still feel that way, it's kind of become socially unacceptable. Like racism. Dude, in my opinion, I'm sorry, racism is exactly like it was in the 60s. People just don't talk about it as much as they used to. I still think that people feel the way they feel, but they don't express it. And to me, we could have that conversation, but I want us to look at ourselves and look inside and say, do you still think the same way you did as a kid? Do you still have those jokes? Do you still have those thoughts that are not necessarily racist then, but are considered racist now, like a black joke? Can you do that? Can you make a joke that you thought was funny? Do you still think it's funny, or do you not say it simply because you know you can't? And there's a very big difference between doing something because you're going to be punished versus doing something because you have made the right choice.
Ooh, that's fair. Yeah, that's honestly, and I think most people now are just so scared that they're going to be the next one that's canceled, or they say something wrong and now everything is freaking recorded, that they're going to be the next one on CNN getting blasted. Like, just like that kid at the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Take one little thing out of context, you get blown everywhere. And now it's like, okay, look, now I'm sitting here defending myself when I did absolutely nothing wrong. But the entire world thinks that either I'm racist or I'm sexist, like whatever happens.
Right.
So I really wish we could go back to a time that we didn't have all these cameras and you could actually just be a kid and live and not have all these extra problems and added things that these freaking phones and all this technology is actually giving us.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing,
Yeah.
but we're just freaking spiraling now.
Let me ask you a question. So here's an example. There's this little girl that runs around my neighborhood who we were friends with. Not me, but her family and my daughter. They had a falling out. And she is like 4'2" and probably weighs 60 pounds. I mean, she is just a toothpick. Well, Ethan's out there playing with Jack, and they've had their go-to back and forth. She bullies Hayden bullies her, whatever. They don't like each other. And honestly, back in the day, you just slug it out and you get it over with. And either that becomes your best friend, which is usually what took place, because once you let out that anger and that mutual admiration for each other, that they stood their own and defended themselves, you start reflecting on your own inequities and you become friends. That's what happens. Or you continue to beat the hell out of each other for the rest of your existence. But either way, something gets solved.
Yep.
And she went up to Ethan. I mean, Ethan, 10 years old, little kid. I mean, it's Ethan. Ethan is probably one of the sweetest boys I've ever met in my life. He's just so kind. He's not angry. He's just good kid. And she goes, tell your sister, your fat sister, Hayden McDonald's, because her name's Hayden McKenna. Calls her Hayden McDonald's. And, tell that bitch she's fat, to my son. Now, my son could literally, if he has a full kick, and I'm sorry, Mike, I don't mean to be insensitive, could snap most people's legs, adult, or if he kicks you, my son will break your fucking leg. Oh, fudging. Sorry. I guess.
Oh, see,
there's one.
Was that like 10 minutes?
Yeah, but you know what? One slip. I'm doing. If I only have one, that's fine. So I apologize. But this guy has kicked through 2.5-inch boards. He's got enough to break a bone. And I've been kicked by him and slipped and missed the pad, and it hurts. I mean, this kid's been doing karate for most of his life. So he could have just ended her. Nothing. Would have been a fair fight, same height, same weight, and he just would have destroyed her. But instead, he just doesn't say a word and comes home and tells my sister, or tells my daughter and tells mom, and then winds up telling me. And my whole thing is like, as a dad who went through bullying, like, I want to go confront this kid. And I'm like, can you imagine me, 6'4", 228, going up to a 4 foot something, 90-pound wet kid? I'm going to be in jail.
Oh yes, very much. So.
And
You're
I'm
on a
like,
list.
but in today's society, if you don't say something, if you don't do something, what does it come down to? So we called the parents the last time this happened. And of course, the lady, she's real estate and she's all, I mean, this lady wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning and her hair is done and makeup done. Just one of those people. Like, let's go, boys and girls. Let's go jazzercise. You're like, oh, God. But she's like, well, how come it's always my daughter? And I said, I don't know. This is the first time I've ever talked to you. What are you talking about? Well, it's always my daughter. Why isn't it your daughter? And I said, I don't know. Who have you been who are you talking to? Well, I talked to your wife and said, my wife's not on the phone. Dad's on the phone. And when dad gets on the phone, you know it must be bad. And she goes, well, why do you say that? I said, because I don't even know your husband's name, which means he's not on the phone. So it can't be bad to you. It is bad to me. And all I'm asking is, my daughter said some things. Obviously, your daughter said some things. And I think it's best that they both stop saying things. And she goes, well, I'm just letting you know that my daughter's not going to stop saying. I said, okay, well, then I'm going to let you know something. At this point, I've tried to be amicable. So here it is. I'm giving my daughter the green light. And if your daughter says anything else to her, I'm going to release all 107 pounds of my child on yours. So either you take care of it or my kid will. Because even if she gets suspended, I'm going to give her a lollipop and we're going to come home.
Cool. Like, that's how it should be.
She hung up. But my point is like, when does civility and taking the gloves off end and begin? Because I think people go so quickly to trying to not do the right thing and move to the threat or the anger or whatever. But I was checked. I was kind at first. I mean, at 15 minutes, I'm like, listen, my kid has been going through a lot of stuff. You know, I understand. None of it worked. So Mike, when do you tell people, all right, now's the time where you take off the gloves and maybe you get fierce, but it doesn't necessarily need to happen right away? Or does it in today's society? I don't know the answer.
See, and when I grew up, it was always my dad always had the thing, you never start the fight, but you always finish it.
Right.
You never throw the first punch.
Yep.
But as soon as it does, you make sure you come home.
That's it.
Like that's how we still do it today.
Exact words I said to her.
But nowadays it's like, oh, well, and this parent has already got me freaking annoyed to where like, oh, it's not my kid. You know how many times I've heard that?
Yeah.
That I've got 3 examples of my dad did similar things of when he was the security guard at the high school that I went to while I was going there. That made high school not fun for me, but that's how it works out. But there was 3 specific kids that he went to their parents and basically said like, hey, like your kid's doing this. One of them was, or 2 of them were drugs. One of them was drinking very heavily. Oof. And all 3 of those parents said, not my kid. My kid wouldn't do that. My kid's an angel.
Right.
It's not our problem. It's not my kid. Well, guess what? All 3 of them are dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry. 2 are dead. 1 is in prison for life because he killed somebody. And only one of those parents went back and said, like, you know what? You warned me, you tried, and I didn't listen because I didn't believe that my kid could do that.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, this is on a much bigger scale, but it's like, you know what? Do you really think your kid couldn't bully somebody because he saw somebody else at school doing it and thought, like, you know what? It's okay.
Yeah.
Let me do that. That we can't check ourselves enough. Like, you know what? Yes, 90% of the time they may be a good kid, but they can step out of line a couple times. Guess what? You correct them. You teach them why.
Yeah. And
then you move on. But you get to this mindset where like, oh no, it's your kid. It's the fault, not mine. Like, well, cool. So when your kid gets punched in the face because they want to start talking too much and then hit my kid, like
that's it.
That's what's coming to you. So guess what? I tried. I'm going to document that I tried calling you. And as soon as your kid hits mine and then you want to go to the police, like, guess what? This is what I tried. You said it's not your problem. Maybe you should have parented your kid better and actually been more involved in their life and maybe cared that they're bullying someone. Because guess what? If they're bullying somebody else, maybe they're also being bullied.
Yeah. But what I told Hayden was, I said, listen, you need to be incredibly compassionate to this kid. She's going through the same thing. She says, well, I've made fun of her nose. And I said, Hayden, then you're being an idiot.
Yep.
And you need to stop, because she goes, I know, but I haven't said anything. I told her happy birthday. I said, yeah, but that doesn't matter, Hayden. Is like, this person doesn't like you for a reason, and it's your job to try to figure out why. Now, you don't have to change her opinion, but you have to change the things that you're doing that are making people see you this way. And this isn't the first person you've had conflict with. But what I told my daughter was the same thing. I said, she's like, okay, well, she keeps bumping into me and lowering her shoulder into me. I said, well, okay, well, that's assault.
Yep.
So the next time she does it, you just turn around and say, simple, I don't want this conflict. We've been doing this for years, but here's what it comes down to. If you ever touch me again, I am going to take that as a sign that you want to engage me in a fight. And I'm going to let you know that I am not going to stop until you can't get up anymore. So the next time you bump into me, you better understand I will defend myself. And I said, and she goes, well, what do I do? Do I just hit her once? I said, Hayden, you square her square in the face. And if she gets up again, you do it again until she doesn't get up anymore. And I don't want you to knock her unconscious. I don't want you to slam her head in there. What I'm saying is where she just goes, you know what? If I get up, I'm just going to get knocked on my ass again. You don't let her up. And that's it. And you don't do it until the whistle blows or the teacher pulls you off. Because if you don't, she will. And I said, don't get into her hair. Don't grab her. Don't push her. Just cold cock her square in that nose of hers that is so giant. And let her know you're done. And she's like, well, what if they sue you? I said, we have insurance. We have insurance. That's fine. We'll let the insurance company. What if I get suspended? I said, so you get a couple days off from school, because honestly, I'm not going to punish you. If you look me in the eye and say she hit you first, and you're honest and you're not lying to me, then you're done. If you hit her first, you're in a world of hurt. You're in a world of hurt, because this isn't the way it's done. The code is you don't hit first. You don't jump in when it's one-on-one. Okay. And the only time you do, if a weapon is brandished, okay, pretty simple. And then what you don't, and you also don't squeal to the teacher. That's what you don't do. Those 3 rules are playground rules, and everybody follows them. Or
Do
at least
they know?
used to. Well, that's
Because-
my point. At least they used to.
Yeah, now it's, as soon as that starts, I just would imagine every single kid gets on their phone and starts recording it, and then kids just start yelling "fight"
Right. That's what they do.
and egging everything on.
But we did the same thing, right? I mean, I remember getting in a circle around Steve Sparks and Adam and you know, hit him, Steve, hit him. You know, I mean, we did the same thing. We just didn't have phones, but we used to take it back behind the taco hut that was closed and go off campus, and you get a bloody nose, a split lip. Once in a while, a pipe was brought out, whatever, but it solved it. And if anyone jumped in, you got your freaking ass handed to you. I mean, there was a code of conduct to this, but now I don't understand.
But that's because there's no more mutual respect.
That's right.
Like, that is completely gone. To where, yeah, you could do that, you shake hands, and guess what? The next day, you're all in the yard playing like soccer, baseball, or whatever you guys play during recess. And it's like, you can all go do that and it's completely fine.
Right.
Now you're going to hold a grudge for 30 years because someone slighted you or someone said something that, like, oh, now I can't like this person forever.
Yeah.
Or like, oh no, now I can't help this person out because they said my nose was too big. Like, guess what? My legs are too small. Like,
yeah. Your nose
whatever.
is too big. Get that person away from my cocaine. What was, did you have a high school bully or a school bully?
I don't know if I would say like a bully. I just know a bunch of kids didn't like my family because, like, my father was a cop for almost 20 years.
Right.
Then he was a security guard at the high school. So obviously, like, kids did anything. He got very good at catching people. So they would all get pissed off at that. So, like, there was just a general, like, people did not like my family. And, like, that's just how it was. We knew it. It was whatever. Yeah. But I know my high school was a little bit different. We still had a lot of that respect, but, like, we still had all of those fights. And a lot of them were the sports teams on one of the Mexican gangs that we had. So, like, we had that going all the time. We had, I know at least we had the SWAT team called once because those fights escalated to where people were bringing guns. So that was a fun couple of weeks when all that happened. But, like, there was still that respect where you can go out, you fight, and then that was it.
It's over.
You're done. But gotta say, nowadays, like, people are just so petty, and everyone just wants to go to a keyboard and express everything out and put their diary on freaking Twitter.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, you know what, I got a problem with this person. Let me go talk to them.
Right.
Let me actually have a personal conversation with someone. Like, hey, you sent something, I didn't like it. Would you mind not doing it? Like, this is how it's making me feel. If I said something to you, my bad. Like, let's put this to bed.
It just doesn't work like that when you're a kid, right? I mean, it doesn't, because it takes rational people. And there's too many emotions and puberty and angst and all about pride and cred. And, you know, you and I could, shit, man. I mean, it's not like you and I haven't had an argument before, or at least, you know, the group of us haven't. And, you know, you say you're sorry. And you if you fuck up, you fuck up. Oh, there's 3 times. And you say you're sorry. But the last thing is, my bully, his name was Eric, and this guy followed me home from 5th grade off the bus all the way pretty much till a freshman in high school, junior in high school, actually, and would beat me up every day. I mean, every day I would run home as fast as I could. Some days he caught me, some days he didn't. And I mean, it was merciless. I mean, there's one tooth in my head that's really still good after the accident. It's right here, and it's chipped from him. And when he just hit me square in the face one day, it came around the side, and I bit down and I chipped that tooth, and I still can't fix it till this day. Every time I do, it pops the filler. I've got to get a crown in it. And I'm constantly reminded of it. So when I went in the military, and we moved to Colorado, and the last time I saw him, I got an ass whooping from him moving to Colorado. And I had a bloody nose in the car as we were literally driving. He kicked my ass 2 hours before I fled to Colorado with my family. So at that point, you know, 2 years later, I went to the military. I came out. I grew because I was 5'6" in high school. I was a short fatty. So 6'4", soaking wet, probably 205, 206. You know how when you look like when you come out of the military, you're freaking ripped. I mean, you at least if you went in decent shape, you came out looking good. Because, you know, you've got all that testosterone going on, and you start lifting, you start eating really high quality protein. We ate well in the military, you know that. So very few fat people make it through the military, and you certainly don't stay that way. But then the training and stuff that I did after that, obviously, I mean, I started hitting the weights, and I started, you know, playing sports. So when I visited back to California when I was 21, I ran into him in a bar, and I settled many years of torment with him, and he didn't even recognize me. And I look at a guy like that, and I go, today, people come out, and there's more of those bully mentality than there are decent people. And that's the difference. When I look back when I was younger, there were more people who were decent and kind, and the bullies were few and far between. To me, it seems that this generation is bully based because of the internet, and a lot of people are truly toxic, and you don't see that honor and integrity anymore that we grew up with. And maybe this is a generational thing, but to me, it just seems to be non-existent. There is no more code. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, and that's like my wife and I, like, we don't want to have kids, but it's when I see a lot of this stuff, I'm like, why would I want to raise a kid and have him experience all this and deal with all this crap? It's
That's why. That's the mentality, because the people who don't think that way have kids, and they don't give them what you would give them. I felt the same way, and you're the person who should be a parent. Doesn't have to be, doesn't need to be. I get it, but you're the person. The person who doesn't want the job usually is the best for it. There's too many people who are saying we're not going to have kids because of this, and unfortunately, those are probably the people who need to be having kids. That's my opinion. But here's an example, another one. Good topic. Appreciate it, man. Good stuff. People seem to enjoy that one. Here's something that's going to make you, there is a little bit of language, and now that we're trying to be a family-friendly show, this is supposedly 11-year-old. This is not an 11-year-old. There is no way.
Oh, they're saying that she's an 11-year-old?
Yeah, there's no way she's 11.
Yeah, okay.
There is no way. First of all, her adult teeth are completely in. 120. Just look at her teeth. That's all you need to do. And then you can also look at her hairline. There's other things that will tell you that she is not an 11-year-old. Her eyebrows are completely full to a point. They're manicured. She's just, this isn't an 11-year-old, but let's assume it is. I want you to watch this because this is pretty shitty, crappy. Sorry.
What are you, like 5 now?
I am. This is poo-poo. You know what? Somebody said it best. They're like, you're too smart to cuss all the time and turn off too many people that aren't going to tune into you simply because you curse. You've got to stop cursing so much. A little bit once in a while is fine, but every other word sometimes on these lives is F this, F that. And you have a better vocabulary than that. And it's turning people off. And that's fine. It's going to turn some people on. She goes, but even Joe Rogan doesn't cuss as much as you. And I'm like, oh, wow, really? And she's right. I went and watched Joe Rogan. I counted how many times he cussed. And then I counted the last live show we did. And I'm like, I cussed like 77 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, see, I don't even notice it, but we're just so used to it.
We're military. Of course we don't notice it. I mean, it literally is in our book. You know, we get the book and we get our rocks and shoals or we get, whatever. And we look at it and we're like, oh, first word is F word.
Yep.
Marines, welcome to the FU. Oh, so sailor, welcome to, all right, here it is. Yep. Listen to this.
If you have a problem, free Palestine, kill yourself.
Kill myself?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said I should kill myself?
Yeah, I'm only 11 and you can't do anything about it
You
because I live
said
in Canada.
I should kill myself?
I mean, if you want to.
I am going to report you to the police.
I'm 11.
What are you going to do? You said kill myself?
He's 11.
You told me to kill
Holy
myself?
gosh, what is that? What is that? That's not a woman, is it?
Yes, apparently.
No.
Well, see, I love when it's like, oh, I'm gonna report you to the police because you told me to kill myself. I'm like, okay, like, what do you think they're gonna do? Or like, and like, I know there was that girl who bullied and pressured her boyfriend, and I know there was like a Netflix special that my wife and I watched. I just can't remember exactly where it was, like Connecticut, somewhere up northeast, to where she was actually tried, but that's because she, over a long period of time, convinced him to do it, and he actually ended up doing it.
Oh yeah.
I forget her name.
Yeah. I don't know her name either, but yes, I know the trial. Yes.
Yeah, but it's one of those like, okay, got it. But someone on the street sit here and says, do that. Okay, then if you're choosing to engage with them and they're saying this crap, like, now that's on you. You can either move on or this is what you're gonna get.
Right.
Why are you gonna? Oh, let me call the police because you said a bad
Right.
said a bad
This
word
is like
to me.
social media, dude. It's like
okay.
It's not social media, bro. There's no Facebook police that are going to come and arrest this person. Mike, what are they thinking, dude?
Dude,
is that what it is? Is like literally people think the police are like Facebook? Because this is what you would do on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and report this person for saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Some lady the other night said that I should get cancer because of what white people have done to Native Americans.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like,
why?
And I said, hey, and she goes, your life sucks. You should just get cancer and die. And I said, my life freaking rocks. Second, there's no cancer history in the family. Third, you lose. Whatever. So I could have reported her and she probably would have been banned. But look at this person. This is the keyboard warriors. And I don't know what's wrong with Canada. And I've got a lot of Canadian viewers. I love y'all. But dude, you need to fix your country. Yeah. You guys literally, I don't know what happened, but you guys all went liberal Hollywood overnight. Canada used to be tough. Canada used to be the silent partner. Like you guys were like quiet and like maple syrup and Bryan Adams and all that stuff. And then now you guys are all about, transgenderism and looking like this. I don't know many Muslim women with nose rings in the Middle East. I'm just letting you know. You are an Americanized Muslim. You should probably embrace that. You should embrace it. You're wearing makeup. That doesn't happen in the Middle East. I don't know where you're from, but you don't get ruby red lipstick in the Middle East.
Well, and I guess the flip side of this that we haven't really talked about yet is obviously this kid, whatever age that she wants to identify as now, when she's getting to the point where like, oh, you need to kill yourself. Well, like, guess what? That's not something a normal kid is just going to think on their own. They were taught that.
That's right.
So who taught you that like, you know what? I don't agree with you. You're not doing my beliefs. You should kill yourself because you don't do what I do.
Right.
Like, how have we gotten that far away from any kind of respect for human life?
Yeah.
Why can't we just disagree and like, okay, cool. I don't like what you're doing. You don't like what I'm doing, but we can still live and move on and find like, you know what? Now it's, you don't like what I do. I should kill myself.
You're
now.
from
Like,
Canada. I mean, seriously,
they
dude,
used to be the nicest people in the world.
Yeah, you're not like from some local sector that's blood packed to, to take out as many infidels as possible. You're an Americanized, Canadaized, Canadaized. You're Canadaized. Whatever. You have Western culture influencing you, from your makeup to your Well, your eyebrows haven't seen a good wax, but your makeup, your nose ring, it's obvious. And for you to sit here and she's 11, you programmed her. He's right. Mike said it. No, she's Jewish. He's Jewish. That's the only reason you would do it. This is one example, though, of why is your reaction to take out your phone and record it? Mm-hmm. We already know that this person is a lowlife. You're not going to make them any more miserable. They're going to record it. You're going to record it. So when somebody records me, you know what I would say is you don't have an NDA for that, man. So I haven't given you license to use my likeness. So if you're going to make any money off of this, trust me, all I'm going to say is you're going to hear from a royalty lawyer and I'm going to win, but have a nice day. You put this up, you make money off of it, I'm going to make every single dime because I'm monetized. So have at it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to engage. I'm just not going to engage, but listen to the rest of this.
11. You told me to kill myself. You're fighting an 11-year-old. She's your daughter. You let her tell her people to kill herself. Oh my God.
Ugh.
How would you say that? Oh, I let her do that? Like, no, I programmed her from the day she was born to hate you, and now it's coming out, and you're going to call me out for it, and I'm going to pretend I didn't do it.
Do you know DC is revamping all of their characters from Batman to Wonder Woman to the villains? I think she should play the Penguin. I think she would just crush it.
You should. She said.
See, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't agree with male to female violence. I don't. I don't think any man should put his hand on a woman. However, it doesn't mean that I don't think about it. And every guy thinks about it because we have to stop ourselves because our reaction as guys is to be alpha. Mm-hmm. And we have to go, no, stop. Because any man, listen, I'm just honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a man, when his wife is just laying into him and there's a fight and they're both right, both wrong, and he's losing control and he's going alpha, that he doesn't want to be, you know what? I just want to, we all think it, but we never do it because we know it's the difference. But I just wish just sometimes, not me, but that this guy would just literally just punch her right in the face. Well, and I know she's supposed to be 11. I don't care. If I'm going to do female abuse, I might as well do child abuse at the same time. Go ahead.
And this is where, like, all right, you want to say this? Child, shut up, punch the dad in the face. This is your problem, and this is your fault. Now we're going to have an issue.
Right. I know, but I just don't want to punch her. Just the way you're sitting there, it's like you need that kid needs to learn a lesson, right? Because one of these days, she's going to go up to a person who is going to do that, who is going to pull a gun. And you can't talk like that, especially in the streets of New York. If she was in LA and she was in one of the barrios, she'd be dead.
She's probably going to be AOC's next. Whenever she's done, this is going to be the next AOC.
I'm not condoning female and spousal abuse and child abuse. I'm just saying, there are people on this planet who need a good pop in the keister. There's nothing wrong with that. Or they need a pop in the kevasa. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Okay, everyone gets where. Don't tell me you don't want to hit her. I mean, just a little bit. Just a little.
I'm putting him on the news. You want Jews to die so badly that you tell me to kill myself?
I was born on 22.
So say you're sorry. Say you're sorry.
I'm not sorry.
You want me to kill myself because I'm Jewish?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want Jews to die?
Go ahead.
What do you teach your family? How much hatred do you teach your family? How much hatred do you have?
I have a lot of hatred.
How much hatred do you have? Kill myself? So condemn what you said.
Holy shit.
She's like, oh, now you have a problem, even though I'm the one who told you to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like, this is, how delusional do you have to be? Like, you know what? I said all this crap, but now it's your fault. Now I'm the victim because I went at you and you came back and I didn't like it because I thought you were just going to take it and walk away.
Yeah. I don't think my opinion of her getting smacked is popular. But you know what's funny? Is that a child? Is that a child? Is there mutual respect? Have those parents taught respect?
Absolutely not.
No. And you know what? I don't want to see anyone harmed ever. That's not my goal. I'm not a violent man, but I'm sorry. If my child was speaking that way to a person, especially on camera, you are damn right that I'm going to step in front, put my hands on their shoulders and say, shut your mouth. And my child would be quiet. Mm-hmm. Be quiet. Shut up. This is you're not going to say another word. And if you do, we'll deal with it when we get home.
Yes.
Because there's a proper way to take care of this. But that child has had no discipline in their life. That child, has had absolutely everything they want. And those parents just don't care. They don't care but here's the thing. I bet you if that was another Muslim person, that tone and that father and that mother would be very different.
Oh, 100%.
Very different. That's my point.
Yep.
I bet she does get her mouth slapped. But because it's a Jew, it's okay. So there's how you don't talk to somebody. Now, those are pro-Palestinian people. They're not even pro-Palestine. Muslims don't even like Palestinian people because there's no such thing as Palestinian people, by the way. Just if you want to go through a history lesson, we can do that. But this is a video of me taking the other side. This says I was harassed once again by a pro-Hamas supporter. Okay, first of all, if you say free Palestine, it doesn't mean you're pro-Hamas. I am so sick of hearing this. Everyone knows how I feel about Israel. Everyone knows how I have condemned Hamas terrorist organizations. But just because you say free Palestine does not mean that you are an anti-Semite or that you are pro-Hamas. Okay, that's the dumbest thing. Free Palestine is not something new. It certainly is now, and we know why they're saying it. But to me, this interaction, this guy's a podcaster. He's a very well-known podcaster in New York. He's Jewish. And to me, he is taking it to the extreme. I'm going to show you the first video, and then I'm going to show you the video you didn't see. And I judged it off of this, that this kid right here in the picture doesn't bother me. If he approached me, he's calm. He just said something that he believes. He knows that this guy believes something else. Let's watch this interaction, and you guys tell me what you think. Is he out of line? Here it is.
You're telling me free Palestine?
Yeah.
On the ice?
On the ice.
Really? That's the only thing you can think of? Harassing me on the ice?
And Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
You came over to me
Happy
and said
holidays
free
and
Palestine on the ice. What's your name?
Yeah. You don't need to know my name.
Why? What are you afraid of?
Free Palestine. I'm not afraid of
This is going to be everywhere anyway.
Good.
You came over to me on the ice in Bryant Park and harassed me with free Palestine.
I said free Palestine. And I gave you a fist bump. And you didn't want to. Now you're recording me.
You are saying free Palestine knowing that it's an anti-Semitic slur to destroy Israel.
Not at all.
So you don't want to destroy Israel.
No, why would I want to destroy people?
So what do you want?
Free Palestine.
What about from what?
Liberation of people.
You mean from Hamas, who are the terrorists?
I want to liberate people.
So you're okay.
I want the freedom of people.
With terrorists.
I want the end to a genocide.
Okay.
I want the end to
He's harassing me.
He's
harassing me.
Put the phone away.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike, and then we'll watch the second one.
Yeah. See, to me, this is where, like, okay, he's the podcaster. He knows that he's going to get a bunch of views and he can use this as content.
Sure.
So that's probably, like, a reason why he's egging this on. But, yeah, if someone just came up and said, hey, free Palestine, little fist bump, you're like, no, man, that's not me. You just keep going, and that it shouldn't be another thought in your mind. But now you were the one who was actively going at him. He just said, oh, yeah, Merry Christmas, whatever. Like, yeah, free Palestine. Like, okay, cool. Guess what? Agree to disagree and move on. Right. But now you're being the jackass that's going and putting a phone in his face when, like, now you're the one that looks like an idiot. And if that's all I knew of this person, I would never want to watch this dude's podcast. Because, like, if this is how you're going to act and be this childish, like, I don't care what you have to say then. Like, people are going to come up. They're going to say some dumb crap every once in a while or something you don't agree with. Guess what? Just move on.
Yeah.
Or maybe like, hey, your podcast is out there enough that people are recognizing you, that you're going and saying that. Maybe that should tell you, hey, apparently I'm doing enough right that I'm getting out there. Maybe I should continue with whatever I'm doing and not being a childish little baby.
I've seen this guy. It's a good, great take. Rabbi Shmuley is his name. But who does this look like?
I don't know. It looks blurry. I don't know.
I know it's blurry, but did we just watch another video where a female?
Yeah, but she had a full head.
But it doesn't mean it's the same day, does it? I mean, how many people who look like the Penguin are in the same shot? I'm just saying. I mean,
how much of America's fat now? Like that's.
I guess I'm just saying. It's just funny, right? I mean, to me, it's just like wow.
There's penguins every. Hey, there's ice. Penguins are going to it.
I guess that's the truth. So here's this. Listen to this.
And exit. There is no re-entry after ice.
Apartheid?
Thank you for skating.
Apartheid, huh?
Of America.
All right.
What did he say?
He said apartheid, huh? And he goes, yeah. He goes apartheid, but he said, what's up? 3 times. This guy, the curly hair guy, he's like, what's up? there's no confrontation here. He's not being a jerk. He's not being condescending either. He's got a smile on his face. He even said, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, whatever. In my opinion, this guy is not being confrontational.
No,
just because he says free Palestine, you should be able to say, tell me, what has Palestine as a government and a country done to ensure its freedom? Can you give me some examples? Do you believe that the things that took place on October 6th warrants freedom for a country that has promoted terrorist activities against a sovereign country? No, I don't, because they've done that. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're at a tit for tat. So have a conversation or say, you know what? You're right, man. Good for you. Free Palestine. But you know what? Let's take Hamas out, right? You agree with that, right? Let's take Hamas out. No, I don't agree with that. Oh, okay. Well, then you and I don't have a common ground. So have a nice night and drive. That's it. Leave it alone. But this guy did not say anything. Listen, I'm a podcaster. I don't have the notoriety of this guy, but people come up to me in this town. I've had people in Fairfax, Virginia come up to me. I've had people in the airport come up to me. It happens. You put yourself in a situation that people want to engage with you because you have an opinion. And when your audience isn't around is why they do. If your audience is around, they stay away from you. That's why nobody calls in and argues with me, because they know they're going to, more than likely get handed to them. But when they are in private, all of a sudden they get all puffed up. So let's watch this interaction. This is a completely different interaction, in my opinion.
And exit. There is no re-entry after IC.
Apartheid?
Thank you for skating.
Apartheid, huh?
Bank of America, Winter Village.
So you came over and you want a fist bump, and then you start telling me that Israel's an apartheid. Why are you harassing me?
I just have free pass and you started recording me.
Why are you harassing me on the ice?
Because you are very pro-genocide, apartheid, and fascist state.
Oh.
So when I see you in person, I want to tell you my opinion.
So we're on the ice. We're on the ice. We're on the ice in a public space.
You can't expect
This is a public space. So you expect me.
Guess what? Yeah, you're in a public space. You have no right to privacy. People can come up and say whatever they want to you. And you're a podcaster that has opinions. Guess what? This is the other side. If you don't want to have the conversation, why did you skate up to him and continue it?
Yeah, you got the camera out.
You are now egging this on. You're the one who wants this to happen. So
I got to give it to that kid. The guy who was Free Palestine. I respect and admire the way he came up to him, and he was just leaning back. What? He's what's up? Merry Christmas, Happy. He didn't change. He didn't go up there and be like blah blah. There's no doubt in my mind the way that he talked to him was exactly the way he talked to him before he started filming. This Rabbi Shmuley, whatever his name is, this guy likes to get anger clicks, and he wants to have all Jews think that all Palestinian people are pro-Hamas and want to see the eradication of Jews. Now, there's a large portion that do. And we know this. We know this from the numbers. We know this from the voting. We know it from the polling. We know how they're protecting Hamas. But not every Americanized pro-Palestinian can we assume this, that when you are in Israel, you're a Jew. When you're in Palestine, you're a Palestinian. But when you come to the West, you have the ability to move higher in the evolutionary chain of thought and realize that you're an American or you're a Canadian or you're South American or whatever it would be. When you come to the West and the Americas, you have the right to be something other than who you pray to or what your ethnicity is that we try to see people, even though we don't do a great job, we try to see people as not by their skin color or not by their nationality, the best we can here. And it seems that we're going backwards. It seems like we're labeling everybody, like the Middle East is labeling people as, Sunni, Shia, Muslims, Jews, and the United States is labeling everybody as liberals or frickin' Republicans, and it's or conservatives. It's the truth, and we're going the way of the Middle East, but instead of doing it with religion and theology, we're doing it with political ideology. Mike, go ahead.
Well, and when you just say like you have the right to learn all that stuff, like absolutely, you can come here. You largely have access to so many different. Well, I mean, everyone has a smartphone now. You have access to all the information you're ever going to want if you choose to go and learn it. But it seems like people never want to actually put in the time to actually learn enough about something, like, and to actually take in that information. Like, you know what? Maybe this is going to change my mind about something. Maybe I saw a couple videos on something and it was portrayed in an incorrect way. So now I'm retraining myself to not just believe this 5-second video I saw on Instagram as gospel. And maybe I need to go and fact check things a little bit or learn enough about them. It's like, you know what? I can actually talk about this, or I understand this enough that, hey, this video is probably wrong, or they're just putting out some BS, or it's propaganda like 90% of it probably is.
Yeah.
That I feel like people just want to take the easy way out so much, and they just want the anger clicks or the instant gratification that we're going to get from all this stuff, that they don't want to take the time to actually learn. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's carpentry, plumbing, actually understanding the Constitution, world history. So knows like, hey, here's the stuff that's happened, both the good and the bad, and what do I want to believe on how to move forward and apply all that together. Like, all that's gone. It's, you know what? How do I make a reel today and get a lot of likes? Because that's the gratification that I want.
Yeah.
Not, hey, let me go build something. Let me go over to a friend's house because I know, like, hey, something wasn't working right. Like, let me go help fix something and get that gratification. Like, nope. Let me get on Twitter, see how many likes I can get today.
This is okay. So I want you guys to do me a favor. I'm going to teach you a couple tricks of the trade before we watch the next video of podcasters and what they do. The next time you go see that video, the Silent Night one in New York or them singing in Walmart, I want you to see how the podcaster posts the video. The entire video is only like a minute and a half on both of them. But you will see something happen. Like, I'm going to call out Benny. You go to Benny's page, and the video is 4.5 minutes. So what Benny does is he puts 2.5 minutes of him rambling and talking at the back end of the video, knowing that most people are only going to engage in the first 30 seconds, but you're going to get one ad roll in that. But he does that for copyright. So he can monetize that video. So he's posting that video to make money. When I post it, I just put the video, and at the end I put the little sirens in the city and when we're going to play. And very rarely do I come in and commentate, or I do. Even the reels that I do, I'll play 1 minute of video and I'll come in and I'll say like a one-liner, like when I did the video about the stupid Nutcracker dance, and then I'm like, wow, you know, I'm not a big fan of the Hunger Games, but this movie looks like the bomb, you know, whatever it is. Yep. And that's not enough for me to monetize because half of the content is somebody else's. You always know when someone's going for the buck, and I can make money other ways. I don't need to make it off of a reel that goes 30,000 to 100,000 likes. Yeah, it's nice, it's easy, and it's lazy work, but I would much rather have a video go viral that I put some thought into it. This next video is, Mike's going to lay it up for us, tell us what it's all about, because he brought it to me, just so we can continue this Hamas and Israel conflict, so you guys can watch this, because it's ever increasing. So set us up, Mike.
So this one's out of New York. Again, it's another mostly peaceful protest of these pro-Palestinian, and I would say a lot more pro-Hamas supporters, that instead of just going out there and getting their word out there, they decided to get a little physical with NYPD, and then they learn how New Yorkers actually handle things.
Cool. Here it is. looks mostly peaceful to me.
It does. But see, and this is what I love, is that once you get to the point that you put your hands on anybody else, it doesn't matter who it is, you should expect that you're going to get hit back.
Yeah.
Now, you put your hands on a cop, especially when they have a bunch of other officers around.
Oh, yeah.
You should expect to get your ass beat horribly, and you probably won't have any teeth when you're done. Because guess what? Everyone knows you don't put your hands on cops. Like, that's just, it should be common knowledge. So then like, I was like, oh, look what you did. I'm like, guess what? If you didn't put your hands on them, nothing would have happened.
Right.
But you want to get out of hand and take this way out of a civilized protest. This is what's going to happen. Of course, and again, maybe this is just my bias towards is like when I see this stuff, granted, I know politically the police probably can't do this. I'm like, flashbangs and tear gas. As soon as they start, you start wailing that in the crowds. Like, stop putting up with this.
Yeah.
They allow all this to happen. And like, guess what? You want to throw one punch, it's over. It's no longer a peaceful protest. We're going to come in, tear gas, cannons, water cannon, like whatever we have to do to bring order back, and it's going to be hard and fast.
Yeah.
But because they don't do that anymore, and I'm sure the officers are also so scared they're going to get sued.
Sure.
And most of these cities are probably going to be like, yep, you shouldn't have done anything. I realize you got bricks thrown at your face and they were beating you, but you shouldn't have done anything. So, one, like, I also don't know. I'm glad there's people that still want to be cops right now. That's the last thing I would do, because you don't have, most of these cities don't have your back. These mayors don't have your back. The leadership doesn't have your back. So, like, I'm glad there's people out there who would still protect and serve. You're more honorable than I am, but I couldn't do it right now. But then you see shit like this, and it's like, come on, guys. Like, if you realize that you're getting, like, the group that you're in is getting out of hand or they're starting to get violent, maybe you should leave. Because if you stick around, now you're complicit in what they're doing. Because if you're not actively going in there and grabbing those people and stopping them or getting away from it, then guess what? When these police are going to come down, they're going to come down hard, and then they're going to come down on all of you.
That's right.
And in my opinion, they definitely should. And then if you want to sit there and cry that, oh, look what you did, like, guess what? You hit a cop, they probably should have done more.
Yeah. There's 500 million police interactions annually. 500 million. 500 million interactions, whether it be talking to a desk sergeant, calling 911, getting a ticket, playing ball with a cop on the street, responding to a fire, whatever it is. 500 million interactions each year. On average, there's 16 unarmed shootings of a black male in the United States. And those unarmed shootings, every single one of them are non-compliance, always resistance. This whole myth that cops are killing black kids, this shit's got to stop. I'm so sick of it. The numbers do not support. It's a complete lie. Why can't you respect Colin Kaepernick? Do you? No, I don't. Not in the least. Anyone who takes a knee, it's not about the flag. It's that your entire cause is crap. It's not about. Not one conversation has moved this topic forward when it comes to taking a knee. Not one. Not at all. BLM has had more of an impact. These racial riots have had more of an impact in discussion about race than anyone taking a knee. The only thing it does is piss off Americans. Just like you sitting here and trouncing on Christmas just pisses off Christians. Okay? There's no reason for people to treat the police this way. I understand there's bad cops out there. Okay? I get it. I've done ride-alongs in a ton of different states with a ton of different cops. I've trained 3 shooting teams from the police department how to fire their weapons and service revolvers the moment that they come in, or their service pieces. I have the utmost respect for cops. I'm friends with the police officers in this town. Mike knows police officers in this town. We understand that there are some things that can go awry. But when you hit a cop, you're not necessarily attacking a human being. You're attacking the institute of law in this country. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that you're prey victim to some sort of police brutality, I respect that. I respect that, and I understand that, and you have a right to stand up for yourself and prove that in the court of law. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that you were just walking down the street and a cop grabbed you and started to beat the hell out of you. No. Because in the history of history, You don't see that. Now, you've seen that in the past simply by the color of your skin or possibly your religious disposition, or maybe you have a crooked cop who's going to roll you because you didn't pay for some drugs or whatever. That's different. But unprovoked, we're talking just a good cop, beat cop, doing their job, sees you and decides to go ahead and roll you for no reason. If that's happened to you, I'm pretty sure I have a few questions for you. Where were you? What were you doing? What have you done in the past? What's your record look like? Have you been a drug addict? And I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Cops, what you don't understand is there's one thing that you can be just absolutely confident of. Cops hate paperwork.
Yes.
And every time that they interact with you, they have a crap ton of paperwork to fill. And beating you down into a pulp is going to require more paperwork to cover it up than it is simply just to leave you alone and just walk away. This is ridiculous. Those cops have to keep the peace. You are protesting without a permit. You are breaking the law. And whether you like that or not, peaceful protest is not a guaranteed right under cities, federal, and state conditions. And there are places you cannot protest without a permit. And that is pretty much every major city in the United States. They're breaking the law. So this is the party that doesn't believe in enforcing illegal immigration. This is the party that doesn't believe that killing a baby is murder. This is the party. This is the party. This is the party. Why should we even ever expect them to care about the law? They don't. These cops have no reason for this to happen to them.
When you were talking, the one thing I thought of, and I believe that this was Baltimore, back when the BLM riots were going on hot and heavy, there was a video of this mother who went and found her kid who was down at one of these riots and was beating the crap out of him all the way back home.
Yeah.
That's what we need again.
Yeah.
We need nuns with rulers, or these parents who are like, you know what, my kid is not doing this. If these other shenanigans want to go out and happen, like, that's on them, but my kid is not going to be raised this way and they're not going to do this. So it all starts there. So I wish we had more families like that. Like, you know what? If you think you want to act like this, then I'm going to show you what happens when it does.
Yeah.
So
it's just not, you know, people are always like, well, Kyle Rittenhouse's mother. You're right. But it's not about what Kyle Rittenhouse's mother did. It's not what Kyle Rittenhouse did before that. The question is when Kyle Rittenhouse was there and was in that situation, the decision of those people to try to take his life had nothing to do with while he was there or what his mother did. It's that they had no understanding of that. It has nothing to do with the case. That's what people don't understand. They're like, oh, well, Rittenhouse, blah. It doesn't matter. Rittenhouse was there. It has nothing to do with his decisions that precluded that event. It only has to do with the decisions of the people who tried to take his life. He defended himself. Does it mean that Kyle Rittenhouse is right? No, because, man, I'll tell you what, there'd be a belt waiting when I got home with, you know, from my dad if I did that. The lack of accountability is what bothers me. Now, it comes down to this. You have a right to an opinion. You have a right to, as an individual, to express your dissent against the government or any forces, whatever, blah, blah. You have the right to take sides in Hamas and pro-Palestine or anti-Jew, all of that. The moment that you encroach upon those officers' rights to go home alive, you have crossed the line. And you're an idiot, because the thing is not every American that you do that with has the right to enforce and take your life. They do. I do. Mike does. Mike and I both have the authority to take your life. If you stop us from going home and try to encroach upon us, we have the right to take your life because we've applied for that right. Those cops have that right. And you're going to go ahead and start an altercation that could lead to you getting shot. I got to ask the question, what did you do? Last thing is, people are saying cops are not on our side. Listen, maybe city cops aren't, but the sheriff's departments are. And they have proved that time and time again. Sheriffs have stood by the Constitution. They have stood by the constituent. They have stood by the cities. The constables are. It's the city police that will always do what the mayor says, and those are usually ran by Democrat cities. That's why if this does clack off, Mike and I have talked about that it will more than likely be sheriff's department versus city cops. That's where an altercation may start, or city and rural versus more of the outer city suburbs and inner cities. We would see some conflict. So.
See, and this were like when you just said that, at least when I was in the military, like the only thing that we kind of ruled by was I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Right.
So Yeah, if you put me in a situation where I have to decide if I'm going home or not, that decision's already made.
Right.
Doing everything in my power to go home.
Yeah.
And if you get in the way of that, or you were the one that's causing that, guess what? You shouldn't have put yourself in that situation.
That's really what it comes down to. All right, we're coming up on the last few minutes, and of course, it's Izzo said it best on our show. He's like, "Damn, I wish we had more time." But it's always good to get back in the chair and start talking. And like we predicted, we would kind of just get back into the swing of things. Talking about this, the 103 strikes.
Oh yes,
on the United States. Let's get a little perspective on this.
So much for joining us. God bless you
Fox
both.
News was on talking about this. Well, let's get to it. We'll watch it together and kind of do some commentary, and then we'll call it a day and pop smoke. And phone lines aren't open right now. We'll open them up tomorrow. Mike and I just had a full day, so we knew we had a lot to talk about. So we didn't open them. If we have some time at the end of this, we may. So here it is.
Everybody, have a great day.
America strikes back, retaliating against the relentless Iran proxy attacks in the Middle East, raising new concerns the region could become an even bigger tinderbox. And smoke rises over the Gaza skyline this morning, fresh signs of Israel's war against terror. Good morning. I'm Mike Emanuel, in for Bill Hemmer. Claudia, great to be with you.
Good morning, Mike. Good to be here with you. I'm Claudia Cowan, filling in for Dana Perino. This is a special...
You always know the commentators that have the best agents because they never work during Christmas and New Year's. And I thought about this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm looking at all Benny. Let's see. I think Bongino is off. Everybody's off, and they're like, we're not going to be back to the 4th. I'm like, I'm not going to give up market share for that. This is when I'm going to take it. Like I'm going to do. We got 90 people on, which is not bad for the day after Christmas, and it's more consistent than we've had in a long time because people are starting to know we come on, and nobody else is on. So this is the time for us to take market share.
Absolutely.
I don't know. My work ethic is we had Christmas Eve. Let's get back to work. So here it is.
Of America's newsroom. The U.S. going after Hezbollah targets in Iraq after a Christmas Day attack against American troops. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says his prayers are with the brave Americans who were injured.
That attack just one of the more than 100 against our forces since the Hamas massacre in Israel on October 7th. Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Trey.
Hey, Mike, good morning. Overnight, President Biden ordered the U.S. military to strike a series of targets belonging to Iran-backed militants in Iraq. We do know, according to U.S. Central Command, that 3 different strikes took place, and they destroyed the targeted facilities and likely killed a number of Kataib Hezbollah militants. The airstrikes came in response to a drone attack against the Erbil air base that houses U.S. service members. 3 Americans were injured in that attack, 1 critically. This does bring the total number of attacks against American interests in the Middle East to 103 since mid-October. It also comes as Israeli forces remain on high alert in the northern part of their country after an airstrike yesterday in Syria killed IRGC commander Saeed Razi Mousavi. In response to that strike, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi said, quote, "The act is a sign of the Zionist regime frustration and weakness in the region for which it will certainly pay the price." Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant speaking this morning, addressing Israeli politicians, saying this about the situation.
We are in a multi-front war and are coming under attack from 7 different threats: Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Judea and Samaria, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran. We have already responded and taken action in 6 of these threats. And I say here in the most explicit way, anyone who acts against us is a potential target. There is no immunity for anyone.
Dude, when we first started this, I said the Jews, they don't care.
No,
I
they don't.
told everybody that they're going to take the gloves off. They don't care who they get into it with. They'll take on the entire Middle East. They don't care. And if it comes down to the Jews are going to be annihilated, they will use a nuke. And they have no doubt. There is a contingency plan to use nuclear weapons in their strategy. And the U.S., it might be a last resort. To them, it's not. It is they believe that they could come out by using a nuclear weapon in the United States and still have a country. And the truth is they do.
Yep.
So they're probably one of the only countries in the United States that could use a tactical nuke and not start World War III. We have to understand is that they are surrounded by Muslim countries that honestly have lived with them for 3,000 years, and nothing's going to change. Israel is comfortable fighting a war, and they're comfortable with peace. The thing is that somebody decided to clack this off, and they're answering the bell. The interesting thing that I want to talk about, Mike, besides this, if there's any comments you have, is that we were talking about the United States' involvement. They've now had previously from Christmas 102 strikes against military bases or military personnel in the Middle East, which is the most since we've seen since OEF.
Since we had active conflict going on.
Right. So this is the most we've seen. Now, here's the thing people need to understand is that these things happen all the time in the Middle East. You know, in a year's period of time, you may see the same number, but it's the frequency that these are happening. This is ridiculous. In a very short period of time since October, you're seeing, 500, 600, 700% more of these attacks, even though they happen and they've happened for the last, 30 years. These are concerning because it's multifaceted from multi countries. It's not just one country, and it's multiple terrorist organizations that are hiding behind the proxy of their government. So you see that, and that's a concern. But we just had 3 personnel, United States military personnel, hit. One of them is in critical condition. And you have to start asking yourself the question, when is the United States going to send a message that isn't hitting a Syrian target, hearing some obscure general? And I understand that this general is prominent, an arm of Soleimani. I understand that he's in the Iranian regime, is well respected, but the effect of that, you lose one general, that's an average Sunday in the Middle East. So when is the United States going to take the gloves off? And then the other part of this, and Mike, I'm going to summarize because I know you hate when I do this because I'm asking things and then I keep going.
Yep.
The other thing that bothers me is that when we look at the United States is pretending that we're not involved, right? We're just there to run defense. We're there for air support. That's why we have, literally, I can show you the strategic map, which I got for you, which Mike's going to go, Matt, where did you find that? Because he's going to recognize the program the moment I put it on. So if you take a look.
Yeah.
So
Bro.
it's okay. It's okay. This isn't classed. It's not classed because there's one marking that is not on here that would make it classed, and I already checked. So you're looking at all of this is open information because here's why. This is the trick. It cannot be real-time information, and none of this is real-time. So that's the first step that makes this completely okay to use. The second thing is that there are certain markers on this program that are not shown. So all this is showing you the position of our current active carrier groups that are not stationed on mainlands or their current ports. So there's a total of 11 carrier groups and like 5 or 6 LHDs. You're going to see that, let's see if we go to the map. CVN 78 is in the Black Sea. You're looking in the Gulf, CVN 69. CVN 69 is stationed in, CVN 70 is stationed in Yokosuka in Japan. So this is Sasebo, Japan. Yokosuka is home base for CVN 70, and it's doing its normal routine. I can't tell you how many times we made this through Sri Lanka, Malaysia. This is running a standard Sea of Japan, South China Sea route, and is not actively being engaged. Now, when it gets over to this area, the Blue Ridge will provide intelligence support in the Gulf, especially for Diego Garcia, which is over here. CVN 69 is down here to protect Yemen, right, in this area. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 carrier groups and an LHD, which is an amphibious assault unit, predominantly Marine Corps, on what is known as an LCC, which was my old ship, the Blue Ridge, which is an intel ship, but it's actually an amphibious assault ship. And then you have LHD-4 outside San Diego, which is interesting. They're just probably running operations offside Coronado and outside on the islands here. So it's not necessarily in its port. That's the active that we have right now. Okay, Mike, are you okay now?
Yep.
You're not upset. Better. Okay, good. Because Mike gave me a big smile, and I said it's okay. Because once again, as long as you post movements that are, if you go to the Department of Defense, you can go to the United States Navy, you can go to Military Times, whatever. These are actually posted. So you can only show these type of maps when it's a certain period cold. So it's not current real-time information. If I was to show you real-time GPS coordinates of these vessels, I would have a knock on my door in about 5 minutes. I would be hauled off and I'd be put in Leavenworth. So you got to know how to protect yourself in this business. But that will show you that there is a lot of activity. So here's the questions. I'll give them to you. First one. The United States is pretending that they are not involved in this conflict when we know by their positioning of their strategic carrier groups that they are. We know that they're running drones off these decks. We know that they're hubs. They're running intelligence. They're going into Syria. We know that they're being spotted in Syria by opposition forces, which doesn't necessarily have a clandestine feel. So the United States is keeping this big secret that's not a secret. They are running operations in these countries, very similar to Ukraine. So that's concerning to me. I don't like that. The enemy should not know what we're doing. That bothers me. So that's the first thing. What do you think about that? And the second thing is 103 strikes against American bases and personnel. When is the United States going to stop joking around and pretending that this is okay? Because if this was 1995, the Marines would already be on the ground. Airborne would be in the airports, and we would be taking these cities and hitting their command and control. Thanks, Mike. I'm sorry I went so long.
No worries. All right, so I'll start with the 103. So when is the U.S. actually going to do something about all these attacks and actually show strength? The answer is when there's a new administration. With Biden, Austin, and Milley. Austin is the Secretary of Defense. Milley is the Joint Chiefs of Staff. With those three at the helm of the military, there is no actual leadership. There is no strength. And you have two people at the head of the military who won't make decisions because they don't want something to look bad on them. So they're going to defer everything to the White House for all decisions. And Biden is the one who famously has said he is the one who told Obama, do not go after bin Laden. You shouldn't do this. So he is one of the most risk-averse presidents that we're going to have. And I know back when I used to work this region, when these attacks would happen, their so-called red line was always like, okay, well, once they attack us, we'll do something about it. Then they would attack us. We'd be like, okay, cool. Here's all of our response options. The next question we would get is like, oh, did somebody get hurt? If that answer is no, you wouldn't do anything. And then this just continued. And then once someone got hurt, the next question was, well, did somebody die? That answer is no. Guess what? You don't retaliate. And then it just continued on. And I honestly think the only reason that we've retaliated these couple of times is just because it's got so much press attention that they realized that they had to do something. And then when they did, they hit locations that they had watched and made sure that no one was there, to where now they finally had got to the point where they're actually hitting fighters and storage locations where a lot of these drones and other munitions are at, along with people. So when is it going to happen? It's when we actually have a conservative administration who's actually going to back up our military. Like, with how it's going right now, they're going to continue to do this. Our military is going to be sitting ducks that, yes, they have measures in order to protect themselves, but they're not foolproof. Stuff is going to get through. People are going to get hurt. And this administration is just not going to do anything about it.
Do we need to go in?
No. Honestly, you don't need to.
You know what I meant.
Yes.
You know, I'm not talking putting troops on the ground.
Yep.
I'm talking taking the chain off the Reapers and start taking out some of these tank columns in Syria and along the border and start unleashing the A-10 on these sons of bitches and Apaches and let's send a clear message that if you put any military armaments against Israel's border, we're going to blast it to China.
You could very easily turn this on for a short amount of time to annihilate some of these groups or hit them hard enough that it's going to take them a while to be like, okay, guess what? We hit back. Either you play nice, or when we come back, we're just going to completely wipe you out.
Right.
That they could turn that on right now if they wanted to, but they have made a conscious decision not to do that. And I know even like with the Houthis, they made a conscious decision not to even touch them.
I know.
They could have wiped that out when it was beginning, but they decided, you know what? The Houthis are going after AQAP. We don't like AQAP, so let's leave them alone.
Yep.
And like, let's let that civil war happen. So we allowed that to happen, and guess what? AQP is basically nothing. There's still a couple of them out there, but now the Houthis are a massive force that is obviously getting a lot of munitions from Iran, and they have munitions that can hit Israel from Yemen.
Yep.
Like, that is not a normal weapon that you're going to have with a bunch of, like, a militia in some backcountry. That is some advanced weaponry that can reach that far. Like, that is ridiculous that they have something like that, that us, along with a decent amount of NATO, could have done something. But guess what? Once again, we say, oh, it's not our problem. And now we're at where we're at.
We don't want to say that the Houthis are stone cold operators,
No.
because they're not. They
That's
go up
just
against
one example.
Right, but what he's saying is out of the terrorist organizations and the terrorist groups and the people that can bring conflict, they're more organized than any others, and they're not the freshman or JV team. The Houthis and Hezbollah are the two largest terrorist organizations in the area, and we saw. I mean, they have the ability to take a ship, a defenseless ship, and I told you when we did the breakdown of that video, it was a complete soup sandwich. But it's still enough for people who are civilian targets. They're an opposing force.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're good enough to shut down a major transit point.
Yeah.
Like, that should be enough to be like, guess what? We're done. We need to handle this.
Yeah, we're sending a carrier group in against a terrorist organization. To me, when you look at Hezbollah, I mean, that is ultimately Lebanon. That's a state. You look at Iran, you send it to the Black Sea for a couple of reasons, and the Red Sea for a couple of reasons, and you put military strategic points in those areas because there's countries that can create war against the United States. Yemen is a terrorist organization, and we've, because of their capabilities for over-the-horizon targeting and long-reach targeting, have to have a carrier group there, well, at least an LHD, to support operations in that area. To me, it's fairly serious. So the first question was, when do we retaliate? And the answer I'm hearing is never, because this administration has. Here's my problem. Okay, let me just take the bandage off here, and then we can cut bait. Israel has shown a level of conviction that they are willing to take it the extra mile and get on the mat. The United States has shown no such conviction. So as the most powerful military force in the world, it feels like the United States is doing this. We support Israel for now.
Yes.
That's where they're at. And to me, that is the gravest mistake, because these countries are going to start feeling, and these terrorist groups are going to start feeling their way through this and thumbing their way through it and saying, okay, well, we'll put a rocket here, or we'll blow this up, or we'll go ahead and take this hostage, or we'll do this, and see how far we can take the United States before we get our warning that says the next interaction that you do, the gloves are coming off. And to me, that is what Donald Trump always said, which I loved, which is, you don't tell them what you're planning to do. They know how far they can push the United States, and that is a dangerous thing. The United States has to have a lethal conviction here. They need to support Israel and match their temperance. If they don't, it's like basically having that 6'4" guy who has a broken back. It's not going to intimidate anyone, because by the time that person gets up and gets over to you, you're back in the safety of your own corner. This is the way I feel the United States is portraying itself, and that's what I was trying to convey to you earlier. It's a sign of weakness. Your thoughts? Wrap it up.
100%. That, like, if you want to go back to World War II, we actually fought to win, and we backed it up. And then guess what? We stayed. We didn't do this crap like, you know what, we're going to go in, we're going to destabilize something, and then we're just going to pull out. And then you have all of these partners that know that we're not going to actually help them out forever. Because guess what? Afghanistan, like, that's a thriving democracy right now, right? Nope. We screwed that pooch. Iraq, is that also a thriving democracy?
No.
Nope. Guess what? Name a place post-World War II that the U.S. has gone into that is actually thriving.
And we've done it 27 times. We've tried to implement a democracy into nation building in every single country. Every single one, including Russia, has failed.
Yes.
Democracies do not. This is why the Democrats are like, democracy. No. Capitalistic society based on economy, republic based on the law, and their electoral system is based on a democracy. You have a representative democracy through a republic with monetary gains from capitalism. You don't have those countries in existence except for Sweden, Finland, Norway, and all of those aren't doing that completely as well, because a lot of them are moving more towards socialism, and they are not a true capitalistic country because they don't provide for their own military. So he's absolutely right. This whole thing that we can go in and make people peace-loving Americans is a fallacy. They don't want our way of life. They don't want Western civilization. They don't want our culture. Here's the places that have accepted it, okay? Israel.
Yep.
Israel. That's it. Go to Kuwait, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Yemen, go to UAE, go to Egypt. I don't care where you go. Every single pocket and area have their serious problems with Christians, gays, and lesbians, no matter what they say. This is the way it is. Israel is one of the most accepting and open places on the planet, and they did it long before political votes in the United States made it a necessity. Mike, take your last minute and we're done.
See, and this is one of those, I wish we could get to the point as a nation to where if we go and get involved in these conflicts, guess what? We don't have to push all of our bull crap onto them. You just get it to the point to where they can thrive on their own. So that way we don't have to be there and we don't have to be this world police and we end up screwing everybody over. And then we get pissed off when we don't have the trade and we don't have our economy actually sending stuff out to them so we can boost everybody, but make sure that America is actually doing what it needs to. That we want to say that we're the best and we know exactly how to do everything, when most times, like, if we touch something, we're going to screw it up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to check ourselves. Yes, there's times that we're going to have to go in and help save some folks. Like, guess what? That's fine. But then help build them up and stop trying to make them like us, because guess what? We got enough problems on our own. Maybe we should look internal, actually build up our infrastructure, our electrical, our water. Because even though, like, one of the towns where we live near didn't have potable water in their homes because their pipes were still wooden up until about 2 years ago. It's like we still have those freaking problems.
That blows me away.
So maybe we should deal with some of that before we go abroad to actually fix what we need. So, but it's still the Christmas season. We're coming up on the new year. I always like to say this, spread some love. If you see someone that's down, just go say hello. You really don't know what a smile is going to do, but maybe you can change someone's day. Maybe spend the rest of the week. Don't look at the news. Get off of Instagram and Twitter. Go hang out with family. Go spend some time with friends.
Go skating in Central Park. I heard that's really good.
Don't skate in Central Park.
Especially if you're Jewish.
You might start a riot, but
sorry, folks. Some people are saying South Korea isn't too bad off. There's a very big difference between a constitutional monarchy and a more of a feudal system than or an imperialistic system than a democratic republic with a capitalistic monetary and trading perspective. Japan is not a true constitutional republic, and either is South Korea. Second, Japan doesn't have a standing military. They have submarines that are on loan from us. They don't have a standing army. They don't have an air force. Everything is provided by the United States. And South Korea, most of their shit is on loan, and they are under constant threat and bombardment from China and North Korea. And if they weren't, there would be no...
It would be Korea.
It would be Korea, and there would be no armistice with the United States. The only reason they're doing that is very similar to other countries that don't have another choice. So, I'm not saying that South Korea isn't prosperous. I'm not saying South Korea isn't beautiful. I'm not saying South Korea isn't a friend of the United States, but it's out of necessity, and so is Israel. These countries have a very different outlook on their government and the way that they work. So I love Japan. I live there. It's a beautiful place, but I would not want to stay there for the rest of my life. And I think if you visited, you'd probably feel the same thing. There are very rural and poor areas of Japan, and the cities are very, very prominent and prosperous. And the same holds true for the United States, but it's not a true republic at all. All right, we can go into that. I don't know who Eddie's talking to. Eddie says, stop saying stuff because you think it fits. Be honest and real. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think everybody just have some more eggnog. Relax.
Yeah.
Mike, we will be on when?
We'll be on again Thursday at 10 o'clock. I had to think about that for a second.
Thursday, 10 a.m. And then we'll be on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I'll have a recorded for you. Recorded shows start again tomorrow. Today, I'm going to catch up on some news, do some articles, get a clip cut of this. and then we'll go from there. But thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We appreciate you. I am Matt.
And I am Mike.
And
one more plug, YouTube. Let's try to get that to 1,000. Send it out to your friends. Let's make sure that Matt is actually alive next year. Yeah, because Olivia is, I don't know what she's going to do if we don't get to 1,000, but Matt's going to pay. So
she'll get violent.
Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's try to get there.
She collects knives. Also, stop by thedumbshow.com. If you haven't been, we've got a new news section where we put all the news every day. We didn't do it over Christmas because I just wanted to get away from the politics. But we have a new news article every day. We also have our clothing line, which is there, which you can find shirts like this, not like that because that's grunt style. And but we love grunt style, so you can go over there and buy stuff too. Otherwise, thanks for watching the show. We will see you tomorrow. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. God bless. Good night.
We'll see you, everybody.
Peace.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.